Hey everybody, welcome back to the Electric Supercar channel. I have still not heard anything on our motor inverter issue, but we're going to continue working on some electrical things. So let's get to it. All right, last week we worked on our stereo system. So this week I'm going to be working on the gear selector, and I'm also going to be working on some door locks. So we'll figure out how all that goes. I am digging into my 12 volt electrical systems here. Just trying to figure out if there's any possible way we're messing up the controller. One other thing I've noticed, this is for the long-time viewers. There's a while where we had the passive keyless entry, and when it would boot up, it would kind of automatically turn the car on. What I'm finding out is that whenever I get like a little external bump, it'll turn the car on. So again, if I use my 12 volt power supply and start to power something, the car will kick on. So somewhere I've got to, I think what it is if it feeds back, I've got a power bank there, and if I ever get any power that feeds back to that bank, it turns the whole system on. So I've got to figure out a way to separate kind of my car on-off switch from that. So it might be just as easy as putting a diode in the system. All right, I bought this very generic door lock and window switch, and I saw it had 6 pins, so I thought there'd be a kind of a ground, a power, and then one would be like for door lock, one pin would be for door unlock, and one pin would be for window open, one pin would be for window close. So I was hopeful, but that's not how it works. So let me show you the circuit board. So instead of just being power and essentially 2 pins are power, one is ground, and then they've got resistors. So when you push the door lock, you get a resistance value through that pin, and then if you do unlock, you get a different resistance value through the other pin. And similar for the window open and close. So not as straightforward as I thought, so I might have to improvise. Okay, to be perfectly honest, this is about as complex a circuit board that I can understand. Again, any of the other ones are just way beyond me. But these 2 top pins are on the left top are for power, and one kind of feeds this top LED and goes to the up and down for the window, and the middle one is power for the LEDs on the bottom and door locks and unlocks. What I have to do from time to time is kind of hold it up to a window or something so you can kind of see the trace on the other side to see where things go through. So essentially it's got these pads that connect. Essentially when you push it, then it connects that circuit, and so both these you'll see go up through this one pin. So if you do door lock or unlock, it gives that 12 volts, but it's just got a different resistor if it's lock or unlock. So I think what I'm going to try and do is tap into the same lead as the resistor and see if I can't get a wire off there and have that run to a relay to lock or unlock the doors. So we'll see if I've got that all figured out. I might need to add some diodes. All right, so I notched the board out, and so I could kind of put the wire in and solder it right here to one of the traces. So the notch kind of helps hold the wire and kind of acts like a strain relief. So I did it on both sides. I also had to interrupt the trace right here and here, just that way I don't have to use a diode, and I've got all the wires connected. So I'll go ahead and reassemble and see if it works how I want. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and test out this one. Again, when I connect the power supply, those should go green, and if I push I think I've got it wired for the unlock, should get 12 volts there, and we'll switch and do the lock. So white is lock. I'll go unlock. Unlock doesn't look like it's working, and also the light is not on. So we'll tear it apart and see what we can do to fix it. All right, here we go for take two. I'll go ahead and plug it in, and hopefully we get both to light up, and then we'll try the buttons as well. Gotta get on voltage. There, white is lock. Got it working. So I already put it back together, but all that was wrong was on the board I slit through one of the traces, so I don't have to do a diode, because they join together and go back to one connector. So this way I can solder on two, but when I did that I cut all the way through, so I cut through a trace on the top as well. So I joined that trace back up with a short wire, and everything worked. I've got the wires all loomed up, so I've got both these ready to go. Have to put them in the car and splice them into where they need to go. I'll probably use some of those aviator connectors, but yeah, it's looking good. For my gear selector, it's got this I don't know, the circuit board that's I just can't, it's a little too complex for me. So, but essentially the buttons move these guys, and they've got these tracks where there's some that are longer and some that are shorter, and so that's kind of how it knows where these buttons are, is if it's only connecting one versus both, then it knows where they are. I'll use that same loop, and what I've done is I got a printed 3D printed board, if you will, and so I've just made these that will accept these. So I'll just solder the wires I need. Again, for the gear selector to work with the Tesla controller, it just needs to be brought to ground. So I'll have one be ground, and I'll have the other one go to the Tesla controller, and that way if I push like reverse, that ground circuit will be made, and it'll send the signal to the controller to go to reverse. Soldered all the wires to their connectors, epoxied them in place, and now I just did the belt sander, kind of ground everything flat so I'll have a nice smooth surface to slide on, and we'll go try it out. Alright, so I screwed my board on here to the back, and I'm going to go ahead and test out. Basically, I'm just going to be looking for continuity. So I'm first just going to test the buttons, make sure they don't hang up and nothing sounds or looks weird. But then I'll test continuity for each of them. I'll just go ahead and maybe bring it close so you can see. Seems like it's okay. So that's park. Here's reverse. That one's good. Neutral. And then we'll go to drive. So you can see this one down here. So I'll feel okay. Like, we'll go ahead and test some continuity. Alright. So that's the sound we're looking for. And don't have it yet, which is good. Let's try So that looks like it'll work. We'll go to next is reverse. So reverse. Oh, sorry. Nope, we're on to neutral. So that one does not seem to be working. So we'll dig into that one. Alright, so then this is neutral. No, sorry, reverse. So that one's not working either. And then we'll go to drive. All right, we got 2 out of 4. That's not great, but I'll check it out and see if it's a little tweak or if we have to, see what we have to do. Okay, so we had park and drive that were working last time. We're gonna try reverse and neutral again. All right, so here, this is neutral. We got neutral working. And this is reverse. So we'll go ahead and double check park and drive. This one is park. And then this is drive. So they're all working. All right, so the only problem was, so I epoxied the connectors in place, and it's kind of a clear epoxy, and I thought I had sanded through, and on those couple pins they weren't all the way through, so I took the board out and just tried making contact just with pins there, and it wouldn't show continuity. So did a little more sanding, and now it works. The other thing I did with this one is, you see there's a lot of extra holes. Those are where all the LEDs are. So in the future, I was planning on some 12 volt LEDs, kind of some dash LEDs. So I've got to figure out a circuit though, because when I do a momentary push, I want the lights to stay on. And then again, when I do like go from park to reverse, I want that park one to go off and the reverse to go on. So I don't know if I can come up with a simple little circuit with relays and things, or maybe it's time to learn Arduino or something like that. Alright, so this is the door. This would be like the driver's side door. So this is kind of the bottom of the door, top of the door. That's where the handle will go. And I'm looking to put this in. And they've got this kind of notched out a little bit here for, I'll call it an armrest. And the problem is that that's just huge to the point where, so I've cut this out, this is kind of the same size as that. And so again, it would have to kind of go all the way up here to the point where you're actually like in here, and it's, I don't know, I feel like you're kind of tucking it out of the way. I think I'd rather have it kind of back here. So I might end up just fiberglassing and having just a slightly shorter armrest. I'll think about it, but I think that's what I might do. Alright, so I'm going to change the armrest to go just a little shallower, and then I'll put that switch here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rough this up here, because that's where the new fiberglass is going to be bonding. And after I do that, I've got some clay here that I'm just going to kind of create a border, and then like probably put some masking tape, painter's tape on, so the new fiberglass won't stick to it. So I just will need several little triangles and resin, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Alright, so on this one the tape kind of fell off of the clay, so it should be interesting to see if the epoxy, how much that sticks to the clay. This one turned out a little bit better. So we'll wait for it to cure up and take off the tape and everything, and then kind of start sanding and prepping and see how good we can make it look. Alright, got them kind of trimmed up and sanded, initial sand. So that's kind of what it looks like. So again, I think the clay and things did an okay job. Here's the other one. So I can go ahead and do some filler on this, make sure everything looks nice. The other thing though I'm going to do is I've got to get holes for the speakers. So might as well cut those up before we kind of patch everything up. Alright, so this is the speaker cover faceplate, and I'm thinking this is about where it'll go. Again, this is kind of upside down. Maybe I'll do it this way so you guys can see. But right about there. And so this back surface is a little bit concave, so like the top here, so I'll show you. I don't know if you can see that, but the top is touching, and here you've got a little gap. So when I mount all this, my thought is this will actually go pretty close to flush, and then this will be out just a little bit. Either that, or I could kind of resurface this whole thing, you know, kind of just lay more fiberglass and have that be flat. But I figure first I'll probably just try and see if I can kind of just, like I said, kind of sink this top part in, and then this part would be flush out here, and see how that looks. In order to do that, I've got to kind of mount this on the back here. I guess it goes like this. But my thought is I'll probably just fiberglass some screws in. I'm trying to think if there's any other ways to do this, but first thing I'll probably cut out the hole and then fiberglass the screws in, and yeah, we'll kind of go slow. I placed the cutout in the panel here, so that's the back side of the switch, and there's the front side. Alright, I've kind of temporarily attached the speaker plate to that so I can get a good location to mount that on the rear. So what I'll do is these pins and those pins will align. So I'll put something in there, and then I'll probably temporarily attach this to the back, and again kind of get some good spots for some like mounting screws. Okay. As long as we're cutting holes, we need to cut a hole for the handle. So this is the handle that the car is designed for. It's a European Ford handle, and so let me consult the instructions on how to install. Okay. Yep. Alright, I got it. So, as always, no instructions. This guy's going to go in here. We got to cut a handle hole. Let me show you the other part that goes with the handle. Alright, so this guy, this long wire here, goes to the door lock. And so it fits in the back of this handle. That T kind of arrangement goes in there. And as you pull it, it'll pull the lock. So I just got to figure out what size of hole, the fastener, how to mount this. So we'll go ahead and do some research and figure out what holes we need to do and go ahead and cut them. So these two want to hook onto something. This one, see how there's actually a slot, so this will actually go on the back side of this. There's a screw hole that'll mount that to there. So I just need to figure out what points will best secure it. So this one I think is pretty straightforward. This side I'll have to see, but this whole section needs to come through there. So I will slowly carve away and figure out what hole needs to be cut. All right, I'm fabricating some brackets here to kind of hold this speaker mount, and then the whole speaker will get mounted to that. So these I'm going to go ahead and fiberglass into this panel. So I'll get some resin, wet it behind it, maybe even put a layer behind it, and then put several layers on top. I've got all kind of four corners there. So we'll see how it turns out. Alright, I'm adding a little bit of filler here to make it nice and smooth and even. And just to give you a show on the back here, this is what the fiberglass turned out to look like. And it actually works really well, and it's very secure in all those points. Also got this one cut out for the handle, and we'll show you what that looks like. Alright, got the hole cut out, and this guy's mounted. So we'll go ahead and do it for the other door on the back side. Again, didn't know quite which lines to follow. This next door I can do a little better, but that's kind of what it looks like. Just got it fastened right here. So we'll get the other door going. Hey everybody, got a new work shirt. What do you think? All right, to make sure I had a nice fit with my speaker plate there, I bolted everything together and got some of the filler just to fill in. There's just tiny cracks, you know, all the way around. So basically got some painter's tape all the way around, kind of filled it in, and then when I take it off, it looks like this, and then I'll just kind of blend with sander kind of all there, but then the gap should be really, really tight. So we'll see how it works out. Okay, here it is, all cleaned up. And so the final plan is I'm gonna get some, I guess I'll call it car vinyl, anyways, kind of the car interior material, and put it on here. So this isn't going to be one that I paint, but I'll get the car vinyl and kind of do the contact adhesive, the contact cement, and put it everywhere, kind of tuck it into the speakers and around this and around that, and get all this stuff mounted. And that'll be good. I'll also kind of get maybe a separate color or something, add some padding for that armrest. But that's the plan. For now, I think I might just go ahead and mount everything, make sure it all looks good, and call it a day. Alright, here it is kind of all worked out. So yeah, I think this all looks pretty good. There is one thing. So I got a interior door handle. When I got it, I guess I'll show you here. This is a flashback to a video a long time ago. Alright, so I thought I'd give a little insight into additional handle interior. So I thought, oh, that might be good, and I looked over here at the picture. You look at that and it's like, wow, okay, that looks good. So let me contrast to what I got here. So this, I don't know if you can see, but it's like a block of wood. So it's been somewhat contoured, but no hardware, and just a little different than what I was expecting. But yeah, it's just a wood handle, and I think it's meant to go from here to here. So I might just try and see if I can scoot it over or just make a new handle kind of right here. But yeah, I think it turned out really good. Alright, for the tool of the week, we have the multimeter. Again, this is pretty essential for any sort of electrical job where you're trying to figure out voltage or continuity or... So I will leave a link in the description below.
Alright, I know everybody's really interested in the inverter and getting that fixed and moving. I've still not heard anything from EV West. Kind of left several voicemails, messages with their assistants, emails. I still haven't heard anything back, so if I don't hear anything in the next week or so, I'll probably just take it into my own hands and see what I can do to get it fixed. Alright everybody, that does it for this week. See you next week.